I said, you need to change your energy.
Oh, my energy is great. I'm fresh off of soup.
Don't you know how the 49ers won that game? Hunter Pence changed his energy.
I'm going to the bathroom at the half, and I'm looking through my phone, and I see Eminem is flicking us off. And I was like, hell no. We're in the freaking Bay. You ain't flicking us off and running us over and us believing how good the Lions are. I know they're good, but we are ready for this. And I just started chanting in the freaking seats. I just started chanting, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. I don't think we got a touchdown, but we scored. They got the ball. I just started saying it out loud. I didn't care. Turnover, turnover, turnover. And we stopped them in 4. And then boom, I just kept saying it every time we had the ball, just touchdown, touchdown. And I mean, it was so fun to watch. And then as soon as one thing happened, I just wanted to yell at every single fan and start high-fiving and start waking them up. And we just started having just the best time. And you could just feel the energy shift in the stadium. Everyone felt our little pocket, and then everyone else started going crazy, and the players started going crazy. And it was a chain reaction. And I think if you saw George Kittle's comment on momentum, and he asked us for it before the game, and when the fans brought it, this Bay Area stayed lit through some tough times. They just gave us one little thing, and we went with it.
Lit! I will say, when Hunter Pence comes in to change the energy, while we're sitting here talking about like good omens and good signs, some pretty good things have happened when he shows up to change the energy.
Yes would come to mind.
Yeah.
And, the reverend speeches, and it's one thing when you're a teammate and you rile up the fellas and you go out there and you get it done and it becomes part of your own self-belief. When you're just a fan, like Hunter Pence, he's really just like the rest of us. And it was me going and getting grandma to come in and take the baby away and making the bed, and you was picking up your daughter and having her change the energy. And some people are stuck in the kitchen because they scored when they were in the kitchen, and now I got to stay here. And some people are watching through the window outside their own house, and everybody's changing their own energy in their own way.
You got to do that stuff, even though it's a big old pile of hoo-ha.
Completely.
Most likely.
Right.
But you got to do that stuff. My favorite one ever. Have I told you this story before? My high school buddies are all over at one guy's house. Actually, the now voice of the Suns, John Bloom.
Okay.
He was always the host house because he had a pool, a hot tub, and a pool table. What else do you need? And so we're all over to his house, and we're watching the Giants game, and this is Bond's era. And I feel like they were playing the Diamondbacks or whatever. And they're having one of these nights where the other pitcher is he's shoving it. He's absolutely shoving it to the Giants. And we're teasing one of our buddies, Anthony. And we're just like, dude, you're a jinx. You're a jinx. They can't hit because you're here. And this is what high school boys do to each other. And we're like, it's all your fault. And so Bonds is finally coming up to the plate in like the 8th inning. And the Giants are down 1-0. And you remember Bonds' era. It was like you could just assume a home run.
Pretty much.
But we just looked at Anthony and we're like, dude, you got to leave. You got to leave because Bonds is coming up. And this is our only hope. So you got to leave. I'm not leaving. No, you have to leave. And he wouldn't leave. And Bonds, ball one. Okay. Oh, swing and a foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. We're like, Anthony, just leave for 1 pitch. Just 1 pitch.
No.
And he goes, you know what? He finally gets to that point where he's like, I'm going to prove to you guys that this is just a big bunch of junk. And he leaves and he goes into the kitchen. And the next pitch, swing and a drive.
He hits it high.
Head out of here. In right field. Into the right. This is still, I think this was still Candlestick Days. So this is into those bleachers at Candlestick.
Yeah, the football bleachers.
He comes running back in. He thinks we all made it up. Like he hears us, he hears us going crazy, screaming and yelling. He comes in. He's like, yeah, right. And he looks at the TV and he's like, oh my God. And we're like, you need to get out of here forever.
And you guys aren't friends with him anymore.
That's right. Never talked to him again.
Jeez.
No, I'm kidding.
He had to go into witness protection.
No. He's driving some of our buddies to Vegas in a couple weeks. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Yeah, talk to him all the time. But yeah, you got to do that stuff. You got to do that stuff.
All that stuff.
Change the energy, man.
And sometimes it works. And my lovely wife, Supper, who's a huge Giants fan, she would sit in the same bar stool in, it was either 12 or 14, might have been 2010, where She watched every single game in the playoffs from the exact same bar stool, and that was it. She would go into the facility, and it was known that she'd be there, and she would get the spot, and that's just the way that went. And they win the World Series, and it's like, right on. You're exactly where you need to be.
Yep. Actually, that was when the curse of Anthony finally went away. When the Giants won in 2010, and he was with us.
Oh, he was?
He was at the game, and he was like, we burned the curse that
The curse
night.
of Anthony.
Yeah, it lasted like 15 years, that son of a gun.
And it's not Anthony, it's Anthony.
Anthony.
I like that.
He's from England.
Anthony.
Yeah,
Okay.
Anthony. He's from England.
You've talked about this guy before.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Making it happen with his accent in high school.
No doubt. Yeah, that went well
Moving
for
the
him.
chains,
That
dude.
went well.
Picking up third downs in one sentence.
Very well.
Hello.
Oh my God, I love your accent. Let's go to Auntie Lisa. Hi, Auntie Lisa. What are you doing?
Hi, what's up? I'm loving every second of you guys on the air. Number one, you're giving a great education. You're doing the whole history lesson for me without me having to actually do it. I worked in the classrooms, and I remember the students who sat in the back of the classroom who weren't paying attention, missed all of the facts, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the first thing.
Yes.
The second thing is the organization of the 49ers, they spend money on the best, the most skilled and most proven and the most intelligent players, okay, and staff, okay? So that's a historical fact. The 49ers will spend the money to get the best. It does not matter how you win. Are you kidding me? It does matter how you win. How do you adjust? How do you change? How do you change your energy when it comes time to really help the players and help the team make some differences, changing attitudes and all of that? I was a mom in the stands for my sons, and I would literally get out of my seat, out of the bleachers, and walk down to the sidelines and change the energy for those young men, even as a mama, right? And so I will leave the kitchen from my recipe, my gumbo recipe, which is the best recipe, to come into the living room and sit on the couch and change the energy of the room. I can do that. And let me just really wrap this up. At 51 years old, I went back to college, graduated from San Francisco State's broadcast department, all because I changed my energy. Guess where I ended up? I ended up on the radio at Odyssey. And I ended up in the locker room with the 49ers and Torrey Smith of the Ravens and one of our senior sports reporters with the mic in my hand doing interviews with the 49ers. Anquan Bolden looked at me like, where did they find this beautiful black woman? This beautiful black woman is black girl magic. I changed my energy. I made some magic happen, just like the 49ers are making magic happen because they invest in it. They work hard at it, and they're skilled and highly intelligent. So intelligent that you guys can't even figure it out. Just like me, black girl magic. Auntie Lisa, okay?
Auntie Lisa, I love it.
Go ahead.
So much Gator pride.
That's a phone drop right there.
That is incredible.
Auntie Lisa. Yeah, speak it into existence.
Yep.
Make it happen. Change the energy. I'd like a text with Auntie Lisa at halftime of the Super Bowl if it's not going well.
Yeah.
That feels like somebody who can move the mountain.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Much like the Hunter Pence energy, Auntie Lisa, SF State broadcast department, one of the many legions of alums here still in the Bay Area getting things done.
No doubt about it. That was fun.
Tough to follow Auntie Lisa.
It is. It is.
Someone's got to do it.
Anquan Bolden. Who is this beautiful black woman?
Right?
I like it. That's probably exactly what he was thinking. 888-957-9570. David in San Jose. Hey, David, what are you doing?
Willard and Dibs, what's going on, fellas?
What's good?
Oh, man, I'm pumped, man. What a game, what a game. I had called in last week, called out Bosa, rightfully so. Well, guess what? He stepped up. And so I'll give you a quick little recap. Obviously, we all watched it, but at the same time, there's some things to take away. First, let's keep continuing on our running game, especially facing KC. I think that's ultimately why Baltimore lost. They forgot how to run the ball. But, let's talk about that crackback block that we're still getting, hit on. That I played defensive end, about in high school, but at the same time, that is not a good block on a defensive end. And there's supposed to be communication from the DB to safety to linebackers yelling out crack, crack, crack when it happens. And so you don't get hit blindsided or they fill that gap. So that's an adjustment. Adjustments were made. But look, we're going to Super Bowl, baby, and we got our rematch. Everything is laid out for us. In order to win, run the ball. Now, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but outside of Mahomes and Kelsey, I'm sorry, I think the Lions have a better O-line. They had better weapons all around, so we might have even faced a superior offense. Now, head coach, obviously, Dan Campbell's new and a little bit of a go-getter, and, he's going to take his chances. Well, so does Andy Reid, right? So if our defense plays, they step up like we all know they have. They've been off for about a month. My goal to winning this game, come out fast. We can't get behind on this team. I'm barely going to feel comfortable if we're ahead after 4. You know what I mean? But let's get this offense rolling with the running game. Let's not get away from it. I like to see Eli Mitchell get 5 touches. If he gets 5 touches, that means we win the game, fellas. So those are kind of my key takeaways going into the Super Bowl recap last week, man, and I'm excited.
Well, David, I will say this. It's for a very good call, and it's for a different reason that I would say this. By the way, you're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Every single week, our narratives have to change. The silly things we say then get disproven, and we go, okay, how about if we go over here for a second? So in other words, right, for how long has it been now? Oh, my God, you got to score first because the 49ers can't come back. 49ers can't come back. Can't really, they're down in the fourth quarter. The ball game's over. Well, that's the end of that. So now we've had 2 playoff games in a row where the 49ers have been trailing heading into the second half and or the fourth quarter, and they've rallied and won the football game. This one's for a different reason. It's not that I don't think that they can come back on Kansas City. It's that the guy with the ball in his hands, this is a matchup in the Super Bowl of the guy who's done it the most versus a guy who's never done it at all. And that's a lot. There's a lot. This is a lot on Brock Purdy. Like, dude, you're in the Mr. Irrelevant.
You're in the Super Bowl.
26 games later, you're now starting in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And you're doing it against the standard bearer for the entire league. That's a lot. So I do think the Chiefs start this game offensively in a more relaxed place than the 49ers do.
I think so.
And you got to weather that.
Right.
That's all. I'm not saying you got to go up 14-0.
No.
But you got to not go down 14-0. You got to not have that jittery turnover or what have you.
And you've got to keep the run game as a prominent part of what you're trying to do, because just looking at Kansas City's defense, they are 24th in the National Football League in yards per attempt allowed. But in the pass game, they are 3rd in net yards per attempt. Only Cleveland and Baltimore have better pass defenses than the Kansas City Chiefs. So, to your point, if you find yourself behind and you've got to throw it, unlike Detroit, which was the exact opposite, very good run D, not a great pass D, this Kansas City team is exactly the opposite. They will get after you. Chris Jones is going to wreck some plays in this game. And it's a shame that Amenahu is not going to be able to play. A shame for Kansas City, because he had one of the biggest plays in that game against Baltimore.
He's had a big year.
He's had a huge year for them, and now he's going to be out. But if you're the Niners and you go down by 2 scores or more, it's going to be harder to come back against Kansas City than it was against Detroit.
Hunter Pence, our conversation with him earlier, he was the number 1 fan in the building at Levi's. He went crazy. You probably have seen it on social media. And we had a conversation with him earlier today that we're going to have for you again here in just a couple of minutes. But let's keep going with you. Rajesh in Fremont here on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Rajesh, what are you doing?
Good. How are you?
What's up?
Yeah. So I just wanted to say that I heard earlier that the notion that the Niners got lucky, but here's the thing though. No one would be. The thing is, they scored a touchdown still after the Ayuk, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what happened. The DB dropped it. Purdy made an excellent throw after CMC got stonewalled on that first and goal play. And he scrambled very well across the whole game. So And also, I feel like you don't just get a 17-point lead back in any way. I don't care if any team, whatever team that's doing it, the other team has to help you out at least a little bit. And just one last thing. I don't know. I've been on the show since 3. I don't know if anyone has brought this up earlier, but the Chiefs' defense has been absolutely remarkable. I know everyone wants to talk about Mahomes, but the fact that they lost their safety, Brian Cook, early in the season, and the fact that Mike Edwards went out for a play, and the fact that their third-string safety actually got the interception on Lamar Jackson. I mean, this defense is great on all levels, and they did it last week without Willie Gay.
They're very good, Rajesh, but we've talked a lot about how these 4 quadrants of the game are very different than the last time the Chiefs and Niners got together. The Niner defense probably not as good as it was. The Niner offense better than it was. And it's a reverse for the Chiefs. Their offense not as good as it was. Their defense much, much better. My guess is, and what'd you say the over-under was in the game?
47.5 is what I saw.
What went to my head is 24 points probably wins this game. I think that's a great target number as an offense to say that's the goal, and the goal as the defense is to not let them get to 24. I think that's a magic number in this football game.
And I do think for the 49ers, and we'll get 12 more days of full-on breakdown here on 95.7 The Game, it's going to be time of possession more than ever before, being able to run it, keep it, and keep Mahomes off the field. Even though their offense is not as explosive as it has been, it's still Patrick Mahomes, which is why I said last week I'm taking the Chiefs to beat Baltimore in that game because of Mahomes. And Travis Kelce is going to be a nightmare for anyone to cover, especially if you're going to allocate linebackers to him and you're going to give up some of that run support. And Isaiah Pacheco is a handful on the ground. You want to keep Kansas City off the field, and you don't want to fall behind. Kansas City's second in the league in sacks, second in the league in pressure percentage. And they do it through the blitz a lot. They blitz 1 out of every 3 pass plays. So it's going to be a whole different look for Brock Purdy with this Kansas City front coming after him.
Well, you remember there were teams early on in the year that thought that was exactly what you needed
Giants,
to do.
right?
The New York Giants blitzed at like a record-setting percentage. It was well over 80% of the time. And that did take him a minute. It took him a minute. He threw something in the first quarter that probably should have been picked. George Kittle broke it up. He was shaky out of the gate, but then he figured it out. This is the one thing about Brock that I absolutely love, which is he may see something early on, and Spagnuolo is fantastic. He's going to see some things that may force him into a mistake, but he's very good at adjusting to those things on the fly, keeping his brain from getting overwhelmed, provided that it doesn't snowball. It happened one time this year. It was against the Baltimore Ravens. It snowballed, and he got knocked out of the game, and the Niners had their worst game of the year. But that's kind of what I mean about that initial onslaught. I think the Chiefs will start the game a little bit more relaxed. They've been here more, and the 49ers will have to weather that. And if they do, then I start to like their chances a little bit better.